And we are live! Hello, DC Metro Area Google Educator Group. This is now week 7. Can you believe it? These weeks have just completely flown by. But this week we're going to be talking about a very, very important topic, digital citizenship. So welcome, everyone. And we have an all-star panel with us today. So I guess we'll go from my left to right. So if everyone can just introduce themselves, maybe what they do, and any initial opening comments you want to say about today's topic. So if we could start with Al.
Oh, okay. I didn't know what's left. Okay,
Sorry.
hey, I'm Al Elliott, 5th grade educator, Hoover, Alabama. I host a Monday's Eve discussion, which is a video hangout, and I started a slow chat today, Calm Ed Chat, CALMED chat. It'll be going on all week, and I'm happy to be here. Digital citizenship, I think is so important because I think first contact is important, and a lot of these social sites, this is students' first interaction with online. And so if the first thing that they do with these tools is something positive and educational, when they find out other things to do, that'll feel odd. So I think it's very important that they're responsible when they're first introduced to certain social medias and just the internet in general.
All right, fantastic, fantastic. We have the other leader of the DC Metro Area GEG. We have Charity. So if you wouldn't mind going ahead and introducing yourself.
Okay, so I am doing this on my iPad, and I've never done it before. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, I've never done a chat, a hangout on with my iPad, so I didn't know if it was working. So I'm Charity Harbeck, and I'm from Maryland. I'm a librarian, media specialist, so digital citizenship is always on my radar. When I saw that Sarah was now part of DigCit, I went, hey, how'd you do that? It's like, I should be doing that. Yeah, it's my job, but it needs to be everybody's job because it can't happen in a vacuum, in my opinion. And I think that's about it.
Okay, great, great. Yeah, that definitely makes a lot of sense. It really can't happen in a vacuum. All right, so if we could go next to Justin from Jersey. Go ahead, Justin.
All right, I am Justin from New Jersey, phys ed teacher and health teacher, K to 6th grade, love tech, and to be honest, this whole naked picture scandal really brought to the forefront why we need to teach our kids digital citizenship. I mean, they need to understand anything that they put on the internet is going to get out there. There's no hiding. There's no privacy. Anybody can get to it. So I really want to teach my kids this, and hopefully I'll learn a lot of stuff from you guys today.
Okay, fantastic. And we have 2 of the members of the DigCit team. There's like, how many of us now? 8?
We got a flock of them, I think. Definitely.
All right, great. So Mary Alice, if you could go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Oh, I just jumped the line. I can't cut the line. Susan.
Oh, no. Oh, it's laid out all kinds of crazy ways on everybody's screen, I guess.
Oh, you can go ahead, Mary Alice.
Okay, all right. I'm Mary Alice Curran from Connecticut. I'm a professor, an assistant professor at the University of St. Joseph in West Hartford, Connecticut, and I'm teaching teachers, and I'm like privileged. I get to teach an undergraduate digital citizenship course that I created and a graduate digital citizenship course that I created and a bunch of ed tech stuff along the way, but what I really like, I know that digital citizenship is part of, teacher preparation in ed tech programs, but I love the fact that it's a specific, has its own 3-credit course at our university because, before we were even talking about putting any tech tools, you can't put the cart before the horse, you'd never give kids, keys to the car to drive before they really had a great understanding about their responsibility to keep themselves safe as well as other people safe. And I feel, pretty passionate about the fact that digital citizenship is 24/7. It can't just be, one teacher that's teaching it. We need to have it from kindergarten to college, and it needs to be a constant, conversation where we engage kids on what it means to be safe, but also, what's their responsibility. Like they can have a choice, and the choices should be something to include project-based learning where I'm part of the solution. So I'm all about helping kids understand how do you think and act locally, globally, and digitally.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's definitely universal.
Amen.
Yes.
Preach.
Preach. Fantastic. Fantastic. So, Susan, welcome, and if you could please introduce yourself.
Sure, I'm Susan Bearden. I'm the Director of Information Technology at Holy Trinity Episcopal Academy in Melbourne, Florida, and also one of the co-moderators of DigCit. And digital citizenship is something that I'm very passionate about. I have presented numerous times on this topic and work with kids on a regular basis. I feel that it really takes a village to raise a good digital citizen. And unfortunately, our kids nowadays have no shortage of terrible adult role models when it comes to digital citizenship. And that can sometimes include teachers and parents. So I think it is incumbent upon us as educators not only to try and create a community conversation around the topic of digital citizenship, but make sure that we are educating not just our students but also the broader community, because I think a lot of people, they just don't know what they don't know, and they don't understand the importance of teaching digital citizenship.
Absolutely. It's a very, very key topic that should be brought to everyone's attention. So fantastic. Thank you. And Tara with the Google headband, go ahead and introduce yourself, please.
Hi, my name is Tara Linney, also known as Tech Teacher T on Twitter. Wow, quite the alliteration. Anyhow, I am an instructional technology coach for a K-8 public school district in Crest Hill, Illinois. And digital citizenship is actually my coaching topic of the month for September. And what I've found thus far is that there's a big issue on whose responsibility it is to teach digital literacy, to teach digital citizenship. Some people think that the responsibility belongs to the parent. Well, if the parent's not setting the good example, then it kind of defaults to the teacher. I personally feel that it's something where it takes a village to raise a child, and so when it comes to digital citizenship, it should be taught in different ways across different platforms. In introducing students to Chromebooks for the last couple of weeks, they have to make their little picture, and they have to click and choose a picture. I've had to tell students as young as not to take a selfie. So if they know what a selfie is, and they know what other things are, and then that gets into the whole like preparing students for the future and letting them know now that anything that they do when they're 8, 9, 10, and so on and so forth, that stays with them, and they don't realize the implications that has at such a young age right now.
Right. The sooner the better to teach them all about digital citizenship. So, fantastic. We have an all-star panel with us. So, really quickly, before we dive into the actual topic, just wanted to review the leaderboard really quickly for our group. So, I'm going to share my screen with you guys. Bam! Just like that. Okay, so here we have our leaderboard. And I'm just going to scroll down, and everyone can see their points. Going to post this in the Google Plus community. Probably tomorrow or so. We had two level ups this week. The first one was for for Alicia, and the second one for Chris Rogers. So congratulations to the two of you. Yes, fantastic.
Way through the time.
Rah rah, sis boom ba. So fantastic job. So our topic is obviously digital citizenship. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. So I'm just going to open up the floor with this first question. What is digital citizenship? Like, what does that mean? What does that topic, what does that term mean?
I think that, okay.
Yeah.
So I think that digital citizenship is how one behaves when they're online. So it's just like being a citizenship of a country or of an organization. It's like the behavior that others see. Maybe it's how you interact with others online, and then maybe it's how you present yourself. So with digital citizenship, it's teaching students like what's public, what's private, how to behave, and then like educating them on the implications of their behavior, good and bad.
Can I just jump in, because I love that. I love the idea that when we talk to our students, they're really focused in on what they do and what others are able to see them do. And I always talk about, like, that's your reputation. And yes, it's very important about your reputation. But in this digital age, I always try to say, let's try to focus in on when nobody is looking, when nobody has any idea what you're doing, and then when you look at anonymous sites, what are the choices that you make then? Because that's about your character. And so, I mean, personally, I look at like digital citizenship, and it's got to be, we've kind of set up this falsehood about stranger danger online, where like don't use your first name online, and create a different identity. And so our students, unfortunately, are one person online, and then they're another person face to face in many instances. And so I try to say, let's focus in on your character, because your character is going to be what you're doing when nobody's looking, and if that's leading the way, then that's going to help with anything that you're doing when people are watching. And about the digital part, I personally say take the digital out. In today's day and age, everybody's got a device or something attached to them. Like, really, we got to learn, we've got to help our kids understand to humanize the person next to them as well as the person across the screen. So I feel like it's got to be the same thing, face-to-face and online.
Absolutely.
Well, I think also, I mean, if I could chime in on what it means, I think just like with regular citizenship, there is a certain expectations of responsibility. Like a citizen of our country is expected to vote, or expected to register a selective service, view a mail, or expected to serve on a jury. And I think that has to do with being a consumer or being a content creator. So I think it's important to also let kids know that the internet is what everyone that contributes to it makes it. So it's not just, it's one thing to go onto the internet and then just complain about all of the horrible things that are on there. It's another thing to say, what could I do to make that space better? What could I create for someone on the other end that isn't there, doesn't exist? And I think that's the responsibility of people that have the ability to do that, because some people can only consume and wish they could create. And just kind of getting that mindset at a very early age. I just think that I just hate the TV concept of computers. Like, I'm supposed to watch. I don't want the computer to become the next idiot box. Let me say it that way.
Yeah, I mean, I teach citizenship. That's part of my health curriculum. We talk about it, and Al, you're spot on when you talk about how are we going to make our community better? How are we going to make where we're at better? And when we talk about digital citizenship, how are we going to make the internet or whoever we come in contact with better? So I really like that. That was a good point there, sir.
And Justin, I really, just to jump onto what you said, I agree. I really view teaching digital citizenship as an extension of, character education or whatever it is, the values that are held by the school community at large. In terms of, because I do believe that teaching digital citizenship is a community effort. I mean, I think it comes upon all adults, whether you're parents, teachers, or students, or the broader community, to help educate students about digital citizenship. So I think it can't be just a one-off class. It has to be something that's integrated as part of the school culture, as being something that's important and something that's valued.
Yeah, when you talk about 21st century learning, it goes hand in hand with digital citizenship.
Right.
I mean, I come from the aspect of, all right, let's teach the negatives of what could happen if you're posting things online, cyberbullying, all that. But I also want to teach the positives of really global citizens. So how are we transcending our school? How are we going outside of our community? Because really, kids only know what they see. And what they see.
So glad you said that, Justin, because to me, digital citizenship is not just how the students act and their reputation. It's the whole idea of citizenship and being part of something larger. You not only have to worry about yourself, but you have to keep others safe. So you're not just worried about your own safety, you have to keep others safe. You have to help not get viruses on your computer and not give them to other people.
Right.
You're part of the whole global community, and digital citizenship should cover that. How do I shop safely online? How do I do anything safely online? Or it's just citizenship extended into the digital world. And we all should teach it, home and school and everywhere in between.
Yeah, and that's the problem. I mean, some adults are just not teaching their kids this, whether it's teachers or parents. I mean, last year I searched some of my kids online, and their vines just pop up. And they're cursing on their vines, which personally, I don't care. You can curse all you want, but don't let everybody in the world see that what you're doing. And just the kids really aren't protected against themselves in the most case, and I'm at the elementary level. So that for me is the primary thing of digital citizenship is protect yourself. Then you go for the protect others. Then we could go to creating the content that Al's talking about. Are we going to make the YouTube videos that are going to teach something? Are we going to flip our classroom? Are we going to do all the other things that we can do that technology makes education better? But, I mean, for me, it's got to start with safety of ourselves and then other people, and then, then we can build on the other thing. Like, what did I say earlier where talked about Bloom's taxonomy, and before you could do that, you got to take care of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. It really does go right here to it.
And Justin, kind of to add on that, so at one of my previous schools, I was just randomly after one of our digital citizenship Twitter chats, a student's name popped into my head. I Googled that student and saw this girl in this YouTube video rapping this song where every other word was a curse word, and I approached her about it. And I was like, we can remove this video, before people find it, and it follows you throughout your school and college and everything. And the problem is, she was under 13. She set up a YouTube account, forgot her password, forgot what email address she used. It's up there, and it's up there for good. So
the problem is, it's not even that you could take it down. I mean, with the Wayback Machine, I could go on and I could find anything you've ever posted, and that's the problem. Once it's out there for good. I mean, you could delete it and you can do everything you can, but that Wayback Machine, while it's really cool for links that are broken that you used to use, it's scary that once it's out there, it's never going away.
Well, and not just that, but you also have students who are under the minimum age requirements setting up accounts for Instagram. I pulled a couple classes last week, and you've got fourth graders on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook and all this. Last time I remember, you have to be at least 13. There's nothing that's happening in those social media outlets that says don't do this. They may say it, but there's no verifying or anything like that. There's no stopping a second grader from going and creating a Twitter account if they wanted to.
But I think, to that point, I think that it's so important for parents, just adults in general, just to become aware of what these social medias are and what they're capable of. I mean, even if the kid, I'll give you a prime example. I had a student that tried to friend me on Facebook. It was years ago, right? Okay, capital no, blah, blah, blah. Right, but I friended her because her mom and her aunt, they were on there and they was doing it with her, right? So we were communicating back and forth, but really like her aunt and her mom, and she just thought it was neat to go home and be able to talk to her. Well, her grandfather found out that his granddaughter was coming home talking to a teacher on Facebook, and needless to say, that didn't go too well. But here's the thing, though, he wasn't as adamant about finding out who else she was talking to on Facebook. I'm the safe guy. You see what I mean? It's you can talk to, the mom, the daughter, the aunt, and it's open. And I appreciate him being concerned, but he wasn't concerned until he heard that the teacher and the student was talking via Facebook. But it was because he was just unaware of Facebook. To him, Facebook didn't exist. But before she friended me, she was on Facebook, and nobody was he wasn't concerned. The mom and the aunt was. But I just think it's important that we all we know what Vine is. We know what Snapchat is. So if we find someone that is doing something that's inappropriate, we can know how to address it. If we don't even know it's there, then it's kind of I don't know what Twitter is. I don't know what they're doing on there, and we just kind of turn the blind eye, and then kids are just in harm's way. It's just kids raising kids at that point.
Yeah, and I agree, and I think that's one of the reasons that parent education is such a critical component of digital citizenship, because it's been my experience that most parents don't know what they don't know. Most of them have no idea what COPPA is, or why the minimum age for students to use social media is 13, and that it's really about protecting children from having their data harvested by marketers. It has nothing to do with whether or not they're actually mature enough to be using those platforms once they hit 13. And a lot of parents aren't aware of what their children are doing online, or even why they should be aware of what their children online. So I think that any successful digital citizenship program needs to include a parent education component.
Absolutely.
I went to present at the National Bullying Conference in February, and I did on a digital tattoo, which I know is going to be one of the topics that we're talking about today. But at the end, I had, like a receiving line of people coming to want to talk to me after the presentation. And one was this young woman. She was probably about 24 years old. And she told me at that time, she said, I was an at-risk teen and I made terrible, horrible choices. And I went to a wilderness camp and I changed my life around. And now I'm a counselor at that wilderness camp. Could you help me find out what choices I've made and what bad choices are out there and what's permanent? And the first image we found of her was the first one that popped up was a naked image. And she's sitting right next to me and she's crying. She said, I was 14 years old when that picture was taken. What can I do? And I think to piggyback on what everyone is saying today is that, when about parent education, parents hear something like that and they say, shut down all social media sites.
Right.
I'm going to block and I'm going to ban. And what I tried to tell this young woman was, there were certain things that we could do. We could petition to get that picture removed. We could find out where that was posted. I mean, the most important thing is, I wanted her to know is I can't guarantee that that image isn't going to resurface at some point in your life. But if you really want to start to have searches more positive, you need to open multiple social media tools and you need to be creating really positive things. And why don't you take the opportunity to the things that you're going to post to help other at-risk teens. And all of those searches will bury those choices that you made that are permanent, when you were uninformed. So
that's a great point. Being able to learn how to basically rebrand yourself. Like, and once upon a time I was a rapper, and it's nothing improper. My mother loves my music, but at the same time, in the space that I'm in now, in this educational space, a lot of times it's a conflict of interest. I mean, it's not always the best reception when all your students want to do is hear you rap. So, I mean, it's a balance to it, but I had to figure out, how do I rebrand myself? How do I put enough stuff out there? And you're exactly right. If you put enough stuff out there, you are controlling your image. If you don't put it, it's almost like credit. Like no credit is almost as bad as bad credit, right? So if you have nothing on the internet, that's almost as bad as having something bad on the internet, because that's the only thing on the internet, right? So being able to rebrand yourself and put what you want people to find about you out there is important. Because everybody's getting Googled now. we're all Googling.
That is definitely true. And you all have touched on many of the questions I was going to ask you, so that is fantastic. But I want to make sure that that I ask Mary Alice and Susan about the DigSit chat, which is coming back this Wednesday. So could y'all tell our GEG a little bit about the DigSit chat?
Well, we're excited that we're going to be every second and fourth Wednesday of the month. We definitely encourage student voice. We love it when educators bring their students to participate. It's between 7 and 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I wish I could do all the math. Susan, can you do the math for the other time zones?
I think there's an online calculator you could use.
Well, that makes it 4 in California.
Okay, all right. Right now we're just, I think, Susan, we were really successful last year. We built up our team and, we're doing it twice a month, but, this is something that I feel like a lot of people want to jump on board because, many districts have already given out devices. Like I just had a Google Hangout with a middle school in Atlanta, Georgia, as a result of an ISTE presentation because they gave devices out last year and they didn't do the digital citizenship. And so they, are desperate to get the digital citizenship aspect in there. So we love to have student voice. We're looking at, I know for this particular Wednesday, we have your kid's teacher, which is Eric Johnson. And he's going to be bringing, if you look at his, he's got this new initiative, Erase Meanness. And, it's on Wednesday, it's going to be about, building positive school culture. What's our responsibility? How do we do it? How do we get our students to have an active voice? Susan, you want to, your perspective of our whole
Sure. Well, and it's important to know that the DigCit hashtag, that's DIGCIT, is a great source for information about digital citizenship, not just during the live chat on the second and fourth Wednesday of the month on at 7 o'clock Eastern Time, but also 24 hours a day. There are people sharing terrific resources and blog posts using the DigCit hashtag. And if you want to stay abreast of what are the latest technologies that the kids are using, like the latest mobile apps that could potentially cause issues for students in this area, the DigCit hashtag is a great way to do it. And also to stay up to date to the latest information on cybersecurity, because I do think that is an important component of digital citizenship. It's just a life skill that a lot of adults don't have. That is just so important in today's world. So I would encourage folks, even if you can't make the live chat, just check out the hashtag DigCit, and you don't even have to have a Twitter account to do that. Just go to search.twitter.com and do a search.
Fantastic, fantastic. So I'm very honored to be taking part in it, starting this Wednesday as well. So shout out to the whole DigCit team. So I guess the three of us are representing everyone who can't be here today. But I have one more question I want to ask you guys before we switch gears for a second. Okay. You all may have seen this article or this news story that came out. This is kind of an audible. I didn't really put this on the Google document. But there was a teacher who recently came under fire for posting inappropriately on Twitter, making some disparaging comments about her students. So how can we help our colleagues in terms of their digital citizenship knowledge as well? How can we help to build up that knowledge with our colleagues? And open to anybody.
I've presented at faculty meetings before. I have casual and informal conversations lots of times, and a lot of times when I present to students, there will be teachers present, and then afterwards they'll come to me and say, oh, wow, I didn't know that. I think that any opportunity we can take to help educate our colleagues is important, because a lot of educators don't know. They don't understand the permanence of content posted on the internet any more than our students do. And one thing I think a lot of people misunderstand is they think if they rely on privacy settings. So that they think that they can post content that they only want to see shared by an unlimited audience. And I tell students and I tell parents, if it's on the internet, it isn't private. It is so easy for content to be screenshot and shared beyond its original intended audience. So I may post content on, say, my personal Facebook page that is maybe geared towards a particular audience, but I'm not going to post anything that I would be embarrassed to have show up on the 6 o'clock news. And that's the attitude that we all need to take about content that we post online at any time, regardless of what your privacy settings are.
That's Jennifer Lawrence.
And I think oh, go ahead, Tara.
Oh, no, I just made a comment. It's fine.
No, I was just going to say that the big, huge problem with the digital citizenship is adults, and that can mean teachers. And they, as Susan said, it's my favorite phrase, they don't know what they don't know. And you have to tell them every second you can tell them that it's always there. I teach digital citizenship to my high schoolers, and I facilitate a course to professional development that our teachers have to take. And I tell them, even with Snapchat, they think, oh, well, no one can take a picture without me knowing. And I'm like, yes, they can take a screenshot, and you may know it, but there's also lots of third-party apps out there that will take the screenshot without telling you. And what's the difference if they know it or don't know it? Once you put it out there, someone can pass it on.
Yeah. Also, I think, too, like just what teachers could do, I think just pick one thing. Like, you don't have to know everything. Like, if you have a Facebook account, then investigate it. Like, find out what are the privacy issues on whatever you're on, because chances are the behavior is going to be similar. Like, the things that you would and wouldn't share on Snapchat or Twitter or Facebook are kind of consistent. You know, it's more of a, I forgot who said it earlier, but it's more of your character, and your character is going to be consistent throughout. I think it's important, but I think that there are a lot of teachers, and just adults in general, they've just, you know, thrown their hands up. I don't want to be on the internet. I don't want, you know, the government following me, and I don't want, you know, whatever. And it's just, you know, all thumbs down. Meanwhile, everybody in the classroom has no idea how terrible their behavior is, because they have no one in the room modeling it, talking about it, or anything, and they're having to figure this thing out on their own. You know, I kind of equate it to like the I guess the maturity talk, the sex talk that all parents kind of fear. like the longer you wait, the more misinformation you're gonna have to undo because their friends are telling them everything they want to know, and it's so out of context, right? Like it's so wrong. Like when I think back to all the things that my friends told me about sex, wow, like no, it was nothing like that. And social media is so like that. Like, you know, the whole Snapchat, well, the image will disappear, or you'll know that's so not right. Or, well, I can delete my account and it'll be gone. That's so not right. But they're getting this information from somewhere. They're getting it from their uninformed friends. So it's really, it's more of our responsibility to make sure that we know something, or we at least know where to guide them. Well, I may not know, but I know this resource, or this, you know, this person. But it's just so important, accurate information at an early age, you know.
And you have to sound like a broken record. I mean, it's got to be a conversation that you can, you know, I feel like, you know, I'm at the bus stop with parents for my own child, and I make it a point, you know, to engage. In a classroom situation with my teacher candidates, what I love to do and what I'd encourage other teachers to do, anytime that we can model that learning is a lifelong experience, you know, in your classroom with students, you know, be a learner alongside your students. Learn with them. Let's open up the opportunities to just continue this, I feel like, critical conversation.
I also think that it's important to remember not to throw the baby out with the bathwater. I mean, just because somebody makes a mistake or somebody decided to misuse a device, they're a kid, right? Like, that's not the first nor last mistake they're going to make. And just make sure that we let the children know it's the behavior and not necessarily them. You know, I think somebody gave an example one time, like if we caught a student looking at like a naughty magazine in school, we wouldn't ban magazines, right? Or we wouldn't, you know, ban that whole thing. So it's like, you know, if somebody does mess up, they're kids. They're going to mess up, you know, and we need to be prepared for that, right? It shouldn't be a surprise to us when somebody misused their device, right? We should already know, okay, here's what we do, and then just let the kid know, okay, you know, it's not the end of the world if you mess up. There's a path to get, you know, to get back in good graces with everybody.
Absolutely. So fantastic comments, everyone. Thank you so much. We're just going to switch gears for a quick second before we close out. So generally, we have challenges in this group. So let me just pull up my notes really quickly. Okay, so last week's challenges are still on the board. They've all just gone down for 1 point. But this week we have some new challenges. So the very first thing, let me see if I can share my screen really quickly. Got to open up communities and... All right, so I'm going to share my screen. Screen share. Boom. Okay, so here, oops, if you scroll down, then you will see that there is a directory right here. So if you fill out this directory, you get 5 quick points. It's just going to ask you some basic questions for ways that we can get in contact with you. All the fields are voluntary, so just fill it out when you get a chance. Also, get 5 points for attending the DigCit chat, which will be ladies, it'll be Wednesday at 7, correct?
Correct.
All right, Wednesday at 7. So if you attend that, you will also get 5 points. And last but not least, if you post a resource in Google Plus about digital citizenship, then that is another way to get 5 points. Now, one of the highlights of our week is our Voxer lottery raffle. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen one more time. The way that this works is that if you are part of the Voxer group, then you are able to just submit your Voxer handle in our lottery form, and then we will pick a winner for 7 bonus points. Now, every week it's been Carla, but let's see if let's see if today Carla's luck is still there, or if we have a different winner. Our winner for today is Crystal. Crystal Morgan, congratulations to you. You have won the Voxer.
One-handed clapping.
Yay! So, congratulations, Crystal. So, that's pretty much it for this week. I'm just going to leave it to the panel for any closing comments. So, I guess last time we started with Al, so this time Tara is to my right. So, Tara, do you have any closing comments regarding digital citizenship or anything else?
Yes. So in closing, I'd like to say that Common Sense Media provides a really great resource for pre-made lessons, so there's no need to like go and kind of create your own lessons. Everything is Common Core and Net Standard aligned, and they're each like 45 minutes, and they're important to fit into the curriculum sooner rather than later. In addition, I saw this really great post on Twitter yesterday, I think, on this vocabulary video that I can share in this chat, I think. Or where should I post the link?
If you open up the Showcase app, it should be on the left-hand side. It looks like some price tags or something, so just click on that, and then...
Actually, Tara, I think you should share it to the G+ community so you can get 5 points.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
And that is all.
All right, great. Thank you. Thank you. And Susan, do you have any closing comments?
Yeah, I'm going to +1 on the Common Sense Media Digital Citizenship curriculum. It's a fabulous resource. It's free. It's K through 12. They have lots of great materials available, materials for doing presentations for parents, for educating parents. Just really terrific information. I refer parents to that site all the time. And just another also good site for some information, whether you're a teacher trying to learn more or want to have another good site to recommend to parents is cyberwise.org, cyberwise.org. They've also got some really great information.
Fantastic, fantastic. And I'm actually adding that to the Showcase as we speak. So fantastic. Thank you, Susan. And Boxer's going crazy. Mary Alice, how about you?
Okay, we could talk about, all these different resources available to teachers, but I think that if I wanted to close with anything, I mean, I could say yes on everything for Common Sense Media, but if we've got any teachers out there listening that say, I just don't have the time, take the time when we have advisee period, whether it's that morning meeting. Start simple, but whatever it is, whether it's at that bus stop or it's, you at recess duty or lunch duty, you just start that conversation because it's our civic responsibility to help our students understand what it means to be socially responsible, both on and offline.
Absolutely, absolutely, fantastic. And I see that Justin's a little occupied right now, so we'll come right back to you. Oh, you ready? Okay.
I've been muted the whole time, so you didn't hear anything. Basically, it shows how important it is that educators take the time to teach digital citizenship. Don't give me those looks.
It's so cute.
Like I said, if I could give a quick anecdote, my grandfather, who's, I don't know, 80-something years old, told me when he was dating my grandmother when they were 13 or 15, said they would ration their kisses because they didn't want my grandma to get pregnant. That shows the effect that information has for people. We need the kids to know the information and to get it from a credible source. Parents don't know it. To be honest, they just don't know it. It's really educators' job to say, hey, kids, this is what's going on, and this is how you protect yourselves, and then taking the next step after protection, this is how you use social media and any digital things to better yourself and then get yourself where you want to go. So I wholeheartedly agree that it's educators' responsibilities to teach this more than anyone else. And that's it for me. Thank you. I'll mute myself now.
Your baby.
Yeah, oh, your baby's so cute. All right, and Charity.
Well, I will plus the Common Sense Media and CyberWise. I think those are great resources. But I also want to end with things we haven't discussed today. We didn't discuss data mining or big data. I love Google. I'm a Google certified teacher, but Google collects data up the wazoo on us, and so does Facebook. And there are third-party brokers who purchase that data information and aggregate it and make decisions about us through that aggregated data. And so not only do kids need to know what they post online is dangerous, but what they post online in different places can be combined into one big piece of information. I used to show a video from, gosh, who was it? I can't remember, but it took in the video, it took the user about 12 minutes to find out the student's home phone number, brother's name, when she was likely to be home, when she was at school, by searching, doing different searches, like a reverse 411 search on a phone number, and all those kind of things. And it'll come to me in a minute where that, no, it won't. I'll post it on G+ when I remember the source of it. It's a little outdated because it used to deal with MySpace, and if you look at the video, you're like, oh God, look at that old stuff. But the value is still there, the point that you can take data from a lot of different sources and put it together really quickly to get way too much information on any of us. So, I don't know. I just wanted to put that in there as well.
All right. Thank you so much, Charity. Thank you. Thank you. And Al, do you have any closing, concluding comments?
Yeah, I guess I just want to remind everybody that is, I guess, knowledgeable of social media and internet and all of that, to just use the same sensitivity when you're dealing with a child that doesn't understand their multiplication facts, if they don't know what a noun is. Like, it's very easy, was very off-putting to come across as a know-it-all to somebody that knows very little. Like, my mother got a smartphone for the first time this year, and one of the most important things that has helped me when I talk with people that don't necessarily have a knowledge of technology is just listening to what they're saying they want to do. Sometimes we try to tell people everything something can do. Like, my mom just wanted to be able to send a text. I'm telling her about Google Documents, Google Drive, syncing this up. She just wanted to be able to text, and I really wasn't listening, but it helped me. I do that a lot because I'm so excited about a lot of this technology. So now I'm more mindful. If someone doesn't know anything, it's so easy to become overwhelmed and turned off to it. So if you're talking to any of your coworkers, anybody that just doesn't know anything about something, like, take it easy on them. Like, you know, like, hey, well, what would you like to do with it? Well, you could do this, like that. And most of the time, once they learn one thing, they're going to ask something else. And they'll probably ask you because you were so friendly, you know, and understanding and caring, just like other teachers in other subjects. So just be mindful not to, you know, drop the hammer on them. You should know this. It's 2014. Let's not do that.
That's definitely true, definitely true. So we have to be as kind and gentle with other teachers as we do with our students sometimes. But that about does it for us. So I want to thank the panel so much for your time and all your knowledge that you shared with us today. This was a fantastic discussion. And I wanted to thank everybody who's watching us. So this will be archived in the GEG group as well as yeah, in the GEG group. So this event will still be up there for anybody who wants to take a look. So be sure that you check out all the links in the showcase. There's a bunch of cool stuff in there. So thank you all again, and happy Sunday. So have a great one. Thank you all so much.
Bye.
Perfect. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.